What's up everyone, this your boy Infrar-Ed. Welcome to the Scott Reports. Today I bring you an anime review of Kiznaiver episode 6. Now, I keep hearing that it's Kiznaiver, and I hear that it's Kiznaiver, so I don't know which one is which. I'm gonna stick with Kiznaiver because it sounds better as saying in Japanese bad guy voice. Kiznaiver. Anyway, this episode, I can say, was by far the best episode or the strongest episode of the series that we've seen to date. Not so much in the sense that, it was the most action-packed or it was the most funniest episode or anything, but the type of development, the characters in this is making the series overall, and the togetherness, the feelings, the emotions, everything that we're getting from these individual characters really shine through in this episode, as it was also a very Maki heavy episode. We didn't get everything we wanted to get from her, but we definitely got a big blunt of it as the layers of her are beginning to peel back that, according to the group, the only person that really has any connection to her is Yuta, and Nico, she keeps trying to get closer to her, but we also get a little bit of a hint, or at least what I feel is a hint, of why she keeps pushing Nico away. Regardless of Nico keep trying to be her friend in this episode, we get to see a lot of that. Overall, we're finally beginning to see these characters mesh together and actually begin to give a damn about each other. Now, if that's the plan of the Kizuna system overall, we still don't know. But for now, we can definitely say that we have a group of 7 friends now, and it really did stand out in this episode. So without further ado, let's get down to the breakdown. So our episode starts off with Maki in a flashback, as we see her walking with a friend who, personality-wise, she seems just like Nico, and her name is Ruru. And they're walking together and they're just having a little bit of banter. And Maki's pretty much the same way she is now, but in a sense, she seems like a little bit softer. Anyway, this girl named Ruru, she's like, I like the way you say stupid, say it again. So, Maki just keeps saying baka, baka, baka. And she stops at one point and said, do you want to be rid of me? And she turns towards like a bridge, free falls, and decides to fall back, and Maki grabs her, only for Ruru to finally jump on top of her and start laughing maniacally. Now, I'm jumping super far ahead with this, but I'm wondering if her actually catching her was part of what happened, or is it a figment of her imagination, because we will see this scene again later in the episode. However, it was more along the lines of a remembrance to Ruru, as she tells her that she will always be a part of her, no matter if she tries to get rid of her or not. So with that being said, we see that scene, we get into that opening, which, after the weeks have gone by, I can probably go ahead and say that this is my favorite opening of the season now. I just love the visuals, I love the music to it, and I love the tone. It's definitely fighting with Joker game for #1 right now, and it might be inching it just a little bit because I'm enjoying this series a little bit more and more, and the biases begin to come in. But anyway, getting back to the episode, we get to our group of friends, and everybody is gathered together at this point except Yuta and Sonozaki. Everybody's a little bit disappointed in Sonozaki right now because, remember when they went on the last trip, she did promise that she would be around a little bit longer, or at least she gave off the impression that she would be around a little bit longer. However, once again, she's not there. Yuta's off on his own, but he's always around, so they don't care about that as much. I guess he gets a pass for being gone. But Sonozaki, however, is just on the phone, and she calls, she calls the Kiznaivers to come to a school later on in the episode as well. But we get a flashback of what happened after they left the cabin last week. As our kids were going through a new test, as what was said by Yamada. And that new test was told by Sonozaki that after what happened with Chidori, they all now share a connection as far as their emotional pain as well. So not only do they have a physical pain emotion, they also have emotion pain. So anything traumatic or anything that makes you sad goes across to all of 7 of the people right now. And that is pretty much what they're going. Sonozaki says that at the rate that these kids are going, because they have such great potential in the Kizuna system, they may even be able to read each other's minds and be on the same mind length as well. Once again, I keep saying, I have a feeling that this system is going to be used for military or something. This series has to get serious, and don't expect like an overarching plot or anything in this episode, because again, it was really just character development for Maki. But I think overall, the end game, I think this is what the Kizuna system's aim is. At one point, the Kizuna committee is actually getting a little bit frustrated with Sonozaki because she's not producing the results as quick as she needs, as the whole program is in jeopardy of being shut down at the moment as well. Of course, it wouldn't be Kiznaiver without comedy, as the team finds out that they can now feel emotional pain. You know, they ask the moral, does he feel anything for emotional pain, and he doesn't. He says, I like physical pain overall. I mean, I feel it, but it's not as good as I want it to be, because you know this dude likes it rough. But continuing on to the episode, we actually see Yuta, and he's sitting in a diner or something somewhere with some chicks, and he's reading a manga, and the manga's called The Promise of Heaven, and it's a very popular manga about two girls who are friends or whatnot, or a girl and a teacher. I don't remember the exact story aspects, but they're reading this popular manga, and he happens to notice Maki walking by herself. While she's walking, she also gets a phone call from an editor that she ignores, and she's also approached by Nico, you know, basically asking why didn't she join up with everyone, and does she really not see them as friends. She kind of blows off Nico at the point, after having an emotional response for Nico wanting to be close to her by saying, you guys aren't my friends, I told you that, get away from me. This goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the episode. I think Nico reminds her so much of Ruru that she wants to be, you know, separated from her because she doesn't want those feelings to come back. We touch base with Sonozaki again later on in the episode as we skip ahead a little bit, and we find out that they will need to save Maki because she's pretty much being interrogated by the paparazzi. So their next mission is to actually save Maki. The reason for this, Yuta caught up to Maki, and of course, you know, he tried to get in a little bit closer and she pushed him off. But he did save her from the editor. This editor guy caught up to Maki and was saying that he wants her to do a movie, and as well as a documentary, that which she refuses to do. He wants to make a movie out of that manga that they were reading, The Promise of Heaven, because this actual manga was written by Maki and Ruru back when they were in middle school. So they wrote it, and it's kind of loosely based off of their friendship and their tragedy. It got really popular because, you know, they wrote it. However, the other author died, which was Ruru. So the editor kind of wants to cash in on that by going in on Maki and having her tell her story and what happened with her friend, which she doesn't want to do because understandably, Maki feels a lot of regret for what happened with Ruru. We don't get too much more information from there, but that's where we stand, and that's why she doesn't want to do it, because she doesn't want those feelings again. Yuta shows up, pretty much kicks this guy in the ass and says, get out of here, you're hurting my friend. They go away together, and that's when she pushed him off. So he goes back and tells the rest of the crew what went on and brings the manga to them, and that's when they get their mission from Sonozaki, who says that their mission is to save Ruru. So they rush to the case to get to her as she's being interrogated by a paparazzi saying, you know, the editor told us who you are, we want your story, we want you to do this documentary. And best boy Tinga, he comes in once again, he grabs the reporter like, what are you doing to my homie? I mean, that's literally what he said, like, what are you doing to my homie? You know, everybody else, you know, they're like, get out of here, how would you feel if we filmed you, we can sue, and things like that. And they also felt a little bit more pain because the pressure of the paparazzi and the bothering her and the retreading of these emotions began to hurt Maki emotionally. So everybody felt it at the same time. But that was just great how everybody rallied around her, especially Tinga. Like, what are you doing to my homie? That part was just great. And that's what I was mentioning before. You can see these characters begin to feel for each other. They begin to have feelings as well. As one of the bigger points of the episode is that even Katsuhira began to feel feelings as well, as he confronted Sonozaki at the end of the episode by saying that he was actually disappointed that she's not there with everybody else going through this pain. So just to see that little hint that he has feelings now is a huge improvement for the character overall. As far as Maki, she runs away after all of this because whatever happened with Ruru was hurting her so much that she doesn't want to let it out. Even with the Kiznaivers rallying around her at this point and letting her know that we're your friends, you can help us. I mean, we can help you get better and help you get through this. This makes me think that maybe when Ruru jumped, when we saw the flashback at the beginning of the episode, maybe she wasn't saved, and this is the scene where we get that ghost image of Ruru saying that I'm going to be a part of you forever, no matter what you do, I'm always going to be there. And big up on the Kiznaivers for getting the paparazzi out there. You know, they're always trying to feed on weakness or feed on tragic events like this, and this is the type of thing that Maki doesn't want to have out there. So I'm hoping next episode we finally do get that development with Maki, and now that she sees that the Kiznaivers survivors are there for her. Maybe she'll finally open up about what she did, because just like with Kazuhira, it's cool that he doesn't feel emotions, that he doesn't feel pain, but with a limited amount of episodes, he has to progress somewhere before people start to lose interest. Even though Maki is very cool, she's the burn queen, she's a good character, she'll cut into you, it's getting a little bit repetitive for her to keep pushing everybody away and not know what's going on with her. And that would conclude our episode. Again, it was a very solid episode for development's sake, and as well as it was just a good story, as the feels were real in this episode. And also right now, as far as Yuta and Maki, I am shipping that like FedEx, as I want to see these two. I wouldn't mind seeing Tenga and Chidori come together as well, because it clearly looks like Kazuhira wants to be with Sonozaki, but you know how that goes. They'll probably have him go with Chidori anyway, because you know, main character, main female character, what have you. So that was the episode in a nutshell. Let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments. What do you think of Kiznaiver overall? Again, it's Studio Trigger, so they kind of get a pass to do whatever they want, and I think this is kind of a different approach from them, as they're always over the top and zany. But with this series in particular, we're beginning to see probably the most serious or the most emotion heavy series that we've ever seen out of Trigger, so I'm enjoying it just for that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end things here. If you liked the video, again, go ahead, drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, as I bring you guys more content daily. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me, and I really appreciate that. So thanks for stopping by. Be sure to join me tomorrow as I review Boku no Hero Academia, as the hype fight is here, as well as ReZero, two of the animes that are blowing the spot up this season. So I can't wait to talk to you guys about that. So on that note, it's your boy Infrar-Ed signing out. See you soon.